Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Tuesday, and all of our guests today brought to you by, and those guests include Elliotte Friedman in Boston. Brought to you by Basant Motors. Basant Motors helping you dine in or dine out all February long with a $500 gift card with your next vehicle purchase. Also, they are taking away the GST. Learn more at Basant Motors, BASANT Motors.com. He's in Boston for the Four Nations from Hockey Night in Canada, 32 Thoughts podcast. Elliotte Friedman, and thanks for doing this, Elliotte. We know how busy you are. Those suits you're wearing, they didn't supply us with those when I was at Sport.
Oh,
that brick red number you had on the other day, you've never looked more handsome.
Oh.
Well, you know what? I think this is true. First of all, Don, thank you for recognizing my sartorial greatness. I would like to shout out Deb Berman, who is the wardrobe stylist for Sportsnet. She said a few years ago, "Do you trust me?" And I said, should I?" And she said yes. And she makes me look great. And I've got another corduroy one, this one blue, for the final on Thursday.
You're wearing American blue? What? Is that what I'm hearing?
I got to say, I usually wear blue because it brings out the best in my eyes, Don. That's what I do.
Well, say hi to Deb from me. She's been around for a long time. She's absolutely fabulous. Before we get into Quinn Hughes, Elliotte, how much fun are you having covering this event?
Oh, it's been phenomenal. Like, Don, you always hope it's going to be great. Whenever you go to something like this, you always hope there's going to be great memories. And there certainly have been. It's been fantastic from top to bottom. When Mike Sullivan came out today and said, "Yeah, we're bringing in Quinn Hughes," like, he didn't give it away. First of all, Sullivan has the best poker face. You can never tell what he's up to. You could tell he was kind of like waiting for one of us to ask it. And then he said, "Yeah, we're bringing in Quinn Hughes." Like, you could have heard the shock in the room. It was just, people were just surprised. We weren't expecting to hear it. And then you could see the online reaction. People were ecstatic. And I'm just going to say this to you guys. Right now, it stands that he can't play unless there's one more injury. But I hope they change it. I hope they change it before the final. I think that Quinn Hughes was on this USA team. He didn't give up the spot because he didn't want to play. He gave up the spot because he was injured legitimately in an NHL game. I think if circumstances align that they need you back, you should be allowed to play. And I think Thomas Harley should be allowed to play. If you give up your vacation to show up here because your country needs you, you shouldn't be penalized. If you're here and you're on the roster, you should be eligible to play in the game, and I hope they change it.
What's your gut saying on Quinn, though, Elliotte? Does he play Thursday?
Well, like, the U.S. is really banged up. I'll say this. We know Charlie McAvoy's not going to play, unfortunately. Now, I think it sounds like Austin Matthews is going to play. It sounds like the Kachuk brothers are going to play. You know, the guy we forgot to ask about today, Rick, was Vincent Trocheck. He got hurt in the game too. So I'm just curious to see tomorrow. First of all, the rules have changed like almost on a day-to-day basis. So you never know if you could change it again. That's one thing. Secondly, I mean, they didn't practice today, but they're going to do it again tomorrow. Let's see. I don't think it's impossible that we see him.
All right. That Canada.
I also got to think, Rick, like, you know what? You're bringing them all the way across the country.
That's it.
I checked, but I also checked too. Like, you're going back across the country. You're playing in Vegas on Saturday, so I got to think they told him there's a pretty good chance he could be in the lineup.
That's what I figure. Is there no way they're flying him to Boston and then to Vegas and not go to play? Canada, U.S., 3 fights, first 9 seconds. I saw your reaction on Twitter, watching you in the intermissions. Every single buddy was absolutely loving that first period. Your thoughts on that Canada-U.S. game, and hopefully we see another one like that Thursday.
One of the greatest games I've ever seen, Rick.
There you go.
Some people said it was a boring game after. I didn't see it that way. Maybe it was because I was in the building, but I just have to say that the intensity on every shift, it was incredible. Like nobody who was a Canada USA fan could feel shortchanged by the effort that those players put on in that game. Everybody was fighting for every inch. And I think that's the thing that they kind of all talked about it was like Jake Sanderson said today, like, he was in the crowd. He wasn't playing that game or in the press box. And he said, like, you look at all the offensive genius that was in that game, and there was no room to do anything because both of those teams were so committed defensively, right? And so
Yes.
that's the challenge. Like, one mistake cost Canada. The giveaway at the blue line, the bad D zone change, and Dylan Larkin scores, and you lose the game. And it's going to be like that Thursday. It was funny. Like, we were asking guys, do you think there's going to be 3 fights in the first 9 seconds? And they were all kind of laughing. They said, I don't know that you're going to see that, but they did say, I don't know that it's going to be that much different. So we should have a great one on Thursday.
Elliotte, Elias Pettersson's name is where trade deadline's 2.5 weeks away. No points, 3 games. What were your thoughts on his tournament?
I think, to me, the most stunning thing, Rick, was that in the game that Sweden had to have, he didn't play very much.
Yeah.
Look, it's been a hard year in the NHL for him. We all know that. Everybody in Vancouver is hoping that things change. I think you always have the possibility of a reset in a tournament like this one. You can write yourself a new narrative. And, here they were, a game. And, they knew that they weren't going to make it before they played. But they played that game with a lot of pride. Like, they had 2 of their better offensive players, Zibanejad and Raquel, couldn't play because they had the flu. Actually, Zibanejad came to the building and then was sent back to the hotel. And they only had 11 forwards, and you saw the deployment. Like, that's a tough one for Pettersson. There's no sugarcoating that one. It's your own national team coaches, that was their deployment of you in that game. That's a tough one. He's got to get his game going.
Elliotte, Canada versus the U.S. Thursday. Do you think Canada has come close to playing its best game yet?
The closest was the last one, and they were great for 55 minutes. Then they decided to torture us a little bit, Donnie. The one thing about Canada is if you looked at some of their performances in these best-on-best tournaments, they're always much better at the end than they are at the beginning. And this one has a chance to be from that same script. They weren't great against Sweden after the first 10 minutes. I thought they were great defensively against the U.S., but they lost. And that was their best top-to-bottom game until late. So I would say that that's their best game so far. I think the one thing that was really, I thought, was important was they scored goals off the forecheck, particularly that 4th one against Finland yesterday. They hadn't been getting much going forecheck-wise. Yeah. And to me, you're going to have to do that if you're going to beat the Americans on Thursday night.
What do you think Sidney Crosby is showing people, Elliotte? Because there was some talk, he's too old to play in this tournament.
Maybe
even the Olympics
Who
next
said
year.
That?
Rick.
Who said that?
Did not.
Hey,
stop.
That, Rick?
Yeah. Stop. He's joking.
You heard that.
I don't know. I thought you only drank from the Crown on Fridays, Rick.
Saturdays, too.
Yeah.
Saturdays, too. I can't believe anybody seriously thought that. He's a great player. Yeah. We were actually talking today, Don, that the one thing this is going to do is, like, you see how well him and McKinnon play next to each other. If that's going to put any more ideas in their heads.
Regarding a possible move to Colorado by a certain someone.
Yeah, that's what people are kind of saying. Well, now he's seeing, like, how well it's going. He's going to have to agree to do it now, right? Yeah. We'll see.
Well, 8.7 is movable. Elliotte, we look forward to seeing the blue corduroy on Thursday.
Looking great.
All right, boys. Great to chat with you. Speak to you soon.
You bet.